How about we move on to the Eastern Conference and hit
Oh boy,
and let's
this
hit it
is
up. Let's
where
start with the
it gets
Metropolitan
spicy.
Division. This is
All
where
right,
I feel there's going to be
I'll lead us
like
off with this
our
one.
first two our first two divisions there. A lot of similar picks. I feel like we're going to have a lot of variety. All right, lead us off, Dave.
All right, in last place, I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm kidding. No, I
Oh.
have the Columbus Blue Jackets. I just saw you click on that Columbus, and I was like, don't get ahead
You
of
saw me
yourself,
already
please.
getting ahead of myself, and
Yeah,
like, yeah, Columbus.
I have them at 63 points, and I just, I'm, what can you even say, really? Like, I think we're all rooting for them.
Yeah,
I think we all just want to see their fans have something to cheer for. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think they're going to suck. I think it's going to be brutal. I think they might be the worst team in the league, potentially, at least battling it out with the Sharks. But
there's a good chance with that.
hope is around the corner. I look at a guy like Fantilli. I look at a guy like Kent Johnson. I look at a guy like Juracek. So many of these
Hmm.
players that, not to mention who they just picked up, Caden Lindstrom in the draft. Like they are going to be good, but
We have
not
so
this
many
year.
young players.
Not
It's
this year.
just,
They're gonna
yeah,
they're gonna be unwatchable this year.
yeah.
And
You just feel so
I
bad for
don't
them. You
I
feel
don't
so bad for the fan base
what can
as
you
well.
do or say? Like I'm a Habs fan and I looked at how dejected players got after like long injuries. And there's just another level to that kind of pain. And I think that I'm going to really root for the Columbus Blue Jackets this year, and I think everyone's going to
Hmm.
kind of gather on them and hope that they do well. But for the most part, I think that the play on the ice isn't going to be amazing, but there will be great moments. Fantilli might get a Michigan. Like
Exactly.
there'll be fun things to watch for sure. But
Hmm.
I you might as
Yeah.
well just go ahead and fill in Logan's too.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, I think
the
so.
Columbus
And it's
too.
hard not to
Six.
mention them without mentioning Johnny Gaudreau as well. It's just such an
Yeah,
awful tragedy
and
there.
Matthew,
And Matthew
rest in peace
Gaudreau.
to both.
Yeah. And yeah, just see like the impact that must have on the on the team. Like they're definitely gonna rally behind them,
I
but it's
would
also
love to
just
see
it's just such
them
a huge
just
loss.
yeah, if they rally behind them and they just open up the year to a hot start, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Where do you have them with points there, Logan?
60. I feel like it's gonna be just like kind of
Oh, not 602.
yep, no, that's exactly what I said.
Oh, there we go. They're gonna break the league.
Yep.
Yes,
Uh,
they're going to get
all
10
right.
points a game.
Well, Dave, why don't we move on over to your seventh place spot in the
Pittsburgh,
Metro?
they suck.
And let me open up
Love
my
Crosby.
predictions again.
Holy crap, this team's going to be bad. I've been waiting on them to
Outside of
downfall for
Crosby
a
Malkin,
while. Honestly, I don't even think Malkin's going to be good.
actually, yeah, last year he had a full healthy season and was like 65 points. That's still decent, but
Good
he has to
enough, but
keep
like,
healthy and somehow be better than that.
man,
He's definitely on the downturn. Age is catching up with him a bit.
this team stinks.
This team I'm trying to think. They prospects. They have Rucker McGroarty.
That's not a prospect. He's a
He's
player.
he's a player. He's a young player. He hasn't
He's like a
played
roster,
a
but yeah, he's a
regular
young
season
player. But
game.
I wouldn't say he's a prospect. They
I
don't
would
have
say he's a prospect
prospects.
because he hasn't played a regular season game yet. Like he's a sorry, like in terms of players that are going to be good for them in the future, players that you can build a future team around. He is basically the only one that fits the bill. Everyone else
He's
is
kind of
getting old.
entitled too, it seems. I don't know really what happened with Winnipeg, but I don't know. That
I had
situation kind
some
of rubbed me the
insight.
wrong way.
I heard a little bit about it, and it apparent what it seemed like is Winnipeg. He was asking Winnipeg to get a contract for the playoffs and like the last two games of the season. You know how Matthew Nyes did a season before,
Bernie, you're the LC, yeah.
and Winnipeg said no because we don't want to burn a year the
And then
ELC,
they sucked.
and Winnipeg
And then Rucker
also
said, hey, you guys
Winnipeg also
suck.
talked about starting him in the minors in order for him to earn his spot, and he felt like he was entitled immediately to an NHL spot, and there's obviously the question, like, I feel they probably could have made the Winnipeg Jets roster there, but it's just their process. And I don't know, like, he could have just decided I'm going to earn a spot then and gotten on the team really fast.
Yeah,
Like, and he just
he
asked for
could
it
have just
instead
shut the
of
fuck up,
actually
played
doing
well in the
that.
AHL, and then got called up,
Instead of
but
doing that,
instead
he
he
said,
wanted to
all
bitch and
right, trade
moan.
me,
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
is, I don't know. It's not a
I'm
classy
happy my
move.
team didn't pick him up. Great guy for Dubas though, you know. He
Yeah.
loves he loves those kinds of players.
He
Yeah.
loves giving them, he loves
He loves
holding
players
out
who
on
just think they're
contract and then giving them
way
everything they
better than they
wanted.
are. Exactly.
He's gonna make like $14 million confirmed.
Yeah. I love you, Crosby. Please come to
Yeah.
Montreal. But your team
I
fucking stinks and it's over before it even
was anyone else
starts.
kind of
Oh
bummed when he
man, it's gonna
signed
be
the
brutal.
contract extension? Because I really
No.
wanted
When I
Crosby
saw
to
the number, I was
play.
like, that's hilarious.
I love the number. I thought though he would sign at 8.7 with
No.
another team next year.
No.
I kind of wanted
Maybe
to
when
see
he's
him with another
40,
team.
I'd
Once
I'd
he's about to
no.
retire at 50, then he'll sign
Yeah.
his contract somewhere else. But
Be like Yager,
until
dude.
then,
He's
yeah,
a hockey robot. Like,
dude even looks like I can't believe how old he looks like he's like 30. Like I see his interviews, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude's got another 10
Yager
years
looks
ahead of
amazing.
him.
He doesn't look
Yaga looks awesome too.
50.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh wait, you meant someone else. Sorry.
I was talking about Crosby.
You meant Crosby, never mind.
You
Yeah,
said the kid's starting to
Uh
get a little older, and it's making me sad. He's
I'm
still
not
gonna be
too
good
hot
though.
on them. I'm gonna put
They
them.
suck, man.
There's obviously gonna be a big gap between them and Columbus. I'm gonna say 78 points.
I have 79, but again, I don't know. I don't want to go too low on them, but I just
Yeah, I think around 80 is about right for them.
like look, like they would have been second last in the division last year if it weren't for New Jersey, all their players dying, getting hurt, being out. Like, man, it's already started. It's gonna
I
get worse
also
from
have,
here.
yeah, I also have Pittsburgh at second
Say
last.
the line, Bart.
82 though is what I have him getting.
Oop, one a
Yeah,
game,
that's probably a more modest regression.
probably.
James, why don't you
But all
lead us
right,
off with sixth?
6. I have the Washington Capitals.
Not a PLD truther.
Oh boy. Unless by truth you mean
Like
absolutely
talk
destroys the
talk
locker
about
room.
talk about taking like a live, pull the pin out of a hand grenade, hold it, give it a little smooch, and throw that fucker in the locker room.
Yeah.
Oh man, what an interesting time that's gonna be. The only wish I had is that he went to Philadelphia instead. Because PLD,
He would
Michkov,
not.
and Torts would have just been like
He would have
there would have been a new quote every
quit.
day, and we would have been waking up Christmas
Yeah,
morning
but
wondering
He
what
would have
we get
quit.
to
He's already
hear.
played with
Torts
Torts. He's already
Torts
played with
loves
Tortorella.
Torts likes Mitchkov. He plays the way that Mitchkov plays the way that Torts likes. So he
That's
Yeah.
true,
fits in well.
actually.
I
He
do have a
is
bit
like
of
offensively
a
creative,
Yeah, but
but he plays hard.
yeah, and he
Like
plays
he's never not played hard.
no, and he back checks too, which he likes.
now there's a
He
bit of a
back
jump
check. Now he doesn't like play
here.
effective defense, but he tries.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's good.
that
You
was
know,
that's
it's not an
POD's
effort
problem.
issue.
POD
It's
didn't try
yeah.
Yeah.
back checking.
Tortorella's big thing is
Was PLD's problem. It
he's
still
an
is his
effort
problem.
thing.
He's
I
a
mean,
Yeah.
diva.
that was Torts' problem with
Like
POD.
I remember that we had a fantasy hockey draft and a couple people were really confused and thought I took Kevin Fiala on LA Kings too high. But my rationale was that
He's a good player.
Fiala played on the same line as Pierre-Luc Dubois for most of the season for before PLD went down to the fourth line because he wasn't playing there. But he just has the ability to drain a line right now if he doesn't care.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I do think they have a lot of good additions here, like Matt Roy, Chitrin on the defense. I think you heard how highly I talk of Logan Thompson already. I think those are some important additions. You do have some good offensive players. I love Andrew Mangiapane.
Oh yeah.
I have them with like 86 points. I think that's reasonable for this team.
I also have the Washington Capitals at sixth, and I have them with 84 points. I think that they're going to regress from last year. I think last year was already them kind of overachieving. I don't think the Pierre-Luc Dubois addition makes them worse, but I don't think it makes them better. I think it just makes them different. I just think that this is another team where they're kind of mushy middle. I don't really know where they stand. They're not bad. I think they're better than Pittsburgh. They're There's some players I like. There's some guys I want to see a little more out of. I look at a player like McMichael, and I think he has a little more to give.
Hmm.
I think, he can have a good season and
Hmm.
yeah, I think the problem with the Caps is Ovi. Not to say that he's like a problem with the team, but his chase for the goals record kind of
I think
really
it's going to
throws an
distract
anchor,
the
and
team a lot
it
because
is
they're
a
going to
bit
try
of
to
a
get him that
distraction.
they're going to be passing him so much, and I think they're going to sacrifice wins to get him goals.
Well, that's the question is that if you ask them or if they know they would say it, but it's just the little tiny things that add up, like the little like hesitation of should I shoot this puck or should I pass to Ovi?
Hmm.
I think I get mad at me if I don't pass to Ovi. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just so much versus
If you miss it, they're going to be
it's
mad.
not something you need to be thinking about when you're trying to win a game. And I don't know, like
No.
I'm not a sports psychologist. I don't really understand how these guys think, but I know how I would think in that scenario. And well,
Hmm. Logan, who do you
one
have?
of the reasons why I'm not a pro
I have
athlete.
I have Washington too at 84 points as well. Kind of same reasons. I don't think like they're okay. I think the fact that they got Thompson in that, I think he's a little bit better than Jari. I think it's gonna help him win an extra game. I don't think there's gonna go to the playoffs. Their playoffs. I don't think they're gonna be great. I think it's gonna be exciting to watch Ovi score, and that's about it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's fair. Logan, why don't you move us on with who you have in fourth? Sorry, in
I
fifth
have
in the division.
I have Islanders in fifth.
Oh,
Yeah. Um.
I'm feeling less spicy about my take because I also have them in fifth.
Yeah. They're a good team. I just feel
There
like
are.
I
I
just feel
look at their
like
roster and I go,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty good. And then you
and
watch
Yeah.
in
them play and you
compare
go, that's kind of boring.
Yeah. I
in
think just
comparison to like Washington as well, how Washington I don't see them being like I see Islanders. They're going to be they're going to be really really close with whichever team's in that last wild card spot. They're going to be right there with them. Like it's
Yeah, I
not that
agree.
they're definitely a step above the Washington Capitals.
I have the Flyers in fifth below the Islanders. Um, I think I think that like when you look at the Islanders roster, like what's missing other than like that elite player? Like even then, like you still have guys
Hmm.
who are like great slash maybe like Barzal, for example.
They're a real
Horvat.
bubble wild card team. Like they're not
Freaking
gonna fall
Palmieri is
below that. They're
sick.
not gonna go above that.
Lee's good. Their decor is insane. Their goaltending's been consistently good every year.
Hmm.
yeah, I think the things that hurt
I
them is that
can't
Sarkin's injured. I think
I
that's what
can't have I don't I but like tell me why you think the Flyers finish above the Islanders. Because
I
that's
don't.
what it is. That's what I think the debate is right
Ooh,
now.
I think
that's true.
that
I think
the
it's gonna be a
fact.
couple points between them.
I feel like the fact that the Flyers have added in Michkov and they got that young Russian goalie coming in, who, while he hasn't played a game yet, I think he'll do well for them.
It's not enough
I
though.
I feel like
I yeah.
they had 88 points last year. I feel like Michkov is gonna bring in that extra
If they
element of
had
having
goaltending,
that.
they would have
Yeah,
made the
but
playoffs last
Michkov
year.
isn't just gonna win you games. He'll also like he's a rookie.
Yeah, but I feel like he's gonna come in with that like energy. He's
Like
gonna come
he's
in
gonna
with that
get
Russian
points, yeah,
energy.
for sure. But
He's gonna make it.
he's not that kind of player where it's like, you add him to your team and you get points in the standings. Like there's really so
No,
much that we don't know about him. And this is a guy who took
I
him
want
in
to wait and see.
fantasy.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
come from like I
I personally think that in terms of they're still within the window that I think they're gonna get the same boost from the in mindset from towards his coaching where
they have a
they're gonna be giving
worse
so
forward
much
group
effort
than the Islanders. They have a worse
and
defensive core than the Islanders, and they have worse goaltending than the
I
Islanders.
think that's going to be really close. Like I'll throw them in here. I got Islanders. I got them at 90. I got Flyers
Like
at
they're not a
91.
sex.
Like
I get what you're saying with the Islanders. Like they're not a sexy pick.
I
They're not a
don't have
sexy
either of them
team,
in the playoffs
but
as well.
they're solid. I don't have the
Yeah.
Islanders in the playoffs either. I have them barely missing,
Like look, this is
but
one win here where between
they're a
them
solid team.
where I could flip them. I gotta stay true to my decision here. I don't want to flip it. I don't know. This is honestly this little flip here is a bit more of like a gut feeling flip, which is isn't the best way to judge it. They're both, I think, going to be in really similar areas where they're pushing for that wild card spot. I don't think either of them make it. Islanders are the type of team though that probably
They have more depth than
Should be
Philly.
there. They do.
Like, there's no way that I can really like. We even watched as toward the end of the year. Like, they also just played better. The Islanders did.
Yeah,
Like, there
there
was a
was
time
a
where the Islanders weren't playing great and no one was grabbing that last spot, and then the Islanders went ahead and just grabbed third in the division.
Mhm.
Like, that's a good team, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good. I'm not
I
denying that
agree
the
with they're
Islanders are good.
good. But I just feel like Philly's gonna pull off. I think Torts is gonna do his Torts magic. Look at what he did last year. Last year, Philly was expected to finish seventh
I think Philly's
in
going
the
to be good
division.
too, but
I
I
feel
just
Mhm.
like
Where do you
cannot
have
put them
Torts.
above. I have
all right,
Islanders just above Philly in fourth, and I have the Flyers with 90 points and the Islanders with 92 points.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same, but I'm
yeah.
Philly was 92.
It's close,
Islanders not. It's definitely
but
gonna be a
I think
close match.
I think I just don't see a reason other than just
Torts.
vibes
I
not
just
to
think
give.
Torts is his just the way he's been coaching the team. I think he's gonna do something, get them going, to win them
I think it
that
would
spot.
be off effort. I think the Flyers are going to win like just those few more
Look at the
games.
Flyers
Just
decor.
the
I
Flyers
mean,
Like,
decor has some.
earnestly,
It has some players who are
and
going to
then
be
look at
better.
the
Like
Islanders
Sanheim,
decor.
York, Sealer are young guys who are pretty good. Okay, I also would like
I
to
mean,
say we're currently debating this about a 2 point swing
yeah. I mean,
between like it's a 2 point swing between all our
that's a
picks here.
win. That's one win. That's
I
what
have
Steelers
literally
say.
1 point between them.
okay, who you like better? York Sanheim first pair, and then Nick Sealer, Jamie Drysdale second pair.
I like the talent
Versus
on Islanders there. I think that
I like
I
the
think that the Flyers are going to get to this position and it's
versus
going to be off of effort
Romanov
levels.
Dobson, Pulik Pelech.
I feel like that's actually I feel like Philly's better there. I feel like
I like the
because
skill
Oh
on
no, you
I like
don't.
the
I do
talent on
I
the
Give
think
me
Islanders
give me
better.
any earthly reason why Sealer Drysdale is a better defensive pair
I
or
don't think
offensive
Steelers.
pair than Pulik Pelech. Pulik
It's
Pelech is
not.
one of the best shutdown defensive pairs in the
Yeah,
league.
I want to say
If
I'm
you have a
saying
lead
yeah.
and you want to hold on to it, you throw those guys on the ice for 30 minutes and you're keeping that lead.
I don't
Mhm.
know. I feel like
Yeah,
the
you
fact
do.
Drysdale
that
wasn't good enough for the
I feel
Ducks,
like the
man.
Islanders only winning 3 games more than Philly says otherwise.
I think that
Honestly, that's the best shutdown pair in the league.
Philadelphia, its Islanders have more talent. I think that Philadelphia is going to be able to just is going to it's going to be out of effort. I think they're just
Tortorella's gonna yell at
going to
them
be
harder.
pushing. I think that they're going to roll. They're. I think. I don't
They're
know. I
gonna
think that
roll
this is the
four
year.
worse lines than the four lines that like the what
All right.
I want an actual argument. Like, why do you think the Flyers are better than the Islanders other than just vibes?
It's I think it's pure physicality. I think Torch just teaches a physical team. He's a coach that's gonna make his offensive players hit that guys. And based off Islanders last year and this year postseason, last
Mhm.
year's postseason, sorry, they're
I
not a
think
physical
that
actually agree
team.
with you there. I think
I
the
think it's
They
going to
Flyers
be
don't
are a
put
hit.
meaner
on.
team than the
They get the
I
they
Islanders.
get the shit beat out of them, and it's not gonna
yeah.
win. Like
Mine is
Philly's a
about.
physical team. They're gonna beat the shit out of teams, and that's gonna get them their spot in that playoff spot.
Mhm. For me, something I put a lot of stock into personally is hustle and the actual the effort level that teams put. And I think that the Flyers they're gonna get to this position, even though they have less talent than a team like the Islanders, just because they're gonna put more. They're just gonna have more effort to win the games here. And I think this is what happens also with Tortorella teams quite a lot in this stage. And then next season is when we start to see this fall off, where they just start getting really annoyed with him.
I think that
Uh,
started last year.
I
The
think it
Flyers
started
are in a
last year, but I think this
playoff
year
spot, and then they just
I think they
shit the
have a
bed at the
boost now
end,
that they
dude.
have a goalie. I think they have a goalie now and they have a boost as opposed to having Urson as the starter because they fell off a cliff when what happened with Carter Hart happened. That was the start of
Yeah,
it. And I think having a bit of a reset allows, I think they still have one more season of that in them. And I don't think they make the playoffs. But yeah, it's about just the effort level I think the team has showed last year. I think it's just each individual player watched like the players have shown that they can win they can win some games
I don't see it.
without having that extra skill. Now, then
I just
again,
don't see it.
I have 1 point between them. It's close. I think it's probably good we move on to our third place. How about I kick this off with the Carolina Hurricanes? And
Ivan
personally,
Ivan.
I am going to put them. What's up?
It's Ivan Ivan's a Kane, right?
No, Ivan Ivan's on the Avalanche.
Oh, right. Different. C team.
Yeah. Uh,
Big Ivan's Ivan
I
guy.
personally I
He's the
have them
GOAT.
taking a step back because I think that they lost some offensive depth because they're running with Kotkaniemi as their second line center now.
Yeah, their decor isn't amazing either. Like you got a really good first pair in Slave and Burns, but Chatfield Orlov on the second is it's not an elite pair, and then Ghost Bear and Walker is pretty good third pair.
Yeah. I have them like 101, I think is reasonable
Yeah.
for what, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I agree. I feel like Carolina's gonna be third. I feel they're gonna get probably 103, 104 points. I don't think they're gonna like they're a good team. Losing Gensel hurts them.
I think that is a big effect there. Because their top line, Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, is going to be really
Yeah.
good. Is going to be dominant here. Jarvis, I think, is going to grow into an extremely good player into this league. Uh,
Mhm.
Second line, they have Nietzsche. Nietzsche is a solid player, but I'm looking at the teammate, like the players who are around him, with like a Kotkaniemi in there. I think Jordan Stahl's still their third line center with like Martinook playing with him.
Mhm.
And personally, that just doesn't move the needle for me. They just don't have that offensive depth. Now, they still have a really good system that can get them into the playoffs. Uh, Looking at this, I have them losing at 10, dropping to 10 points. I think Kachekov is going to be solid. I don't trust Anderson that much. Yeah, I think that they're gonna fall back. They're gonna run into some issues in the playoffs probably, but they're still going to make the playoffs.
I
I
also
Yeah.
think they're
have
gonna,
Carolina third.
yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, or do you think we should just move on to the next bit?
Honestly, I agree with everything you guys said. I think they're a fine regular season team. I don't think KK's that moves the needle much as a second line center. Like I think honestly, like he's probably on the lower end of second line centers in the league.
He definitely is.
Uh,
Where do you see him with points?
I think 40,
Oh, I
like
mean
not
the
high.
Canes.
Canes, I have them at 102. I think they take a
About the same.
significant step back, and I think that this might be the start of like a changing of the guard of the Metro, where you have the Rangers and Devils as the bona fide top two teams in
Yeah.
that league for like at least the next few years, and Carolina is a comfortable third to wild card team.
Hmm.
But I think that they've just lost so much like depth.
They really lost so much
They haven't
depth.
really they had like they didn't are they better than last year at all?
No, they're worse than last year.
They're worse. Like
The only
Yeah,
thing I
they
might
still have
say
pieces. They
the
have
one
is
pieces,
the
I
okay,
think,
power play,
to
but
the one thing I'll say is once they get Nikishin, who's in the KHL right now,
yeah.
I think that's a player that can really maybe put them back up in that like conversation for number one, number two in the division. That's a guy who's going to be elite. But right now, I think that they're comfortable in third, and I don't see them as a huge threat in the playoffs.
I
They
don't see them as a threat in the
always they've
playoffs.
all they've always been a threat, but they've never been like a threat. Like they've always got to like the second round or the conference final, but they've
Hmm.
never looked like even in the conference final,
They
they've
never
always got their
look like
ass
they could
kicked.
make the final.
They never look like they belonged
No.
in the like they make the final four, but they don't look like they're like a team that could win it all. Like they make the
Once
final
you see
four
them in the
like
final four, they just get spanked by whichever other team's in there, and and they
yeah,
look like
they'll just
frauds.
get killed, you know. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right, who wants to lead us off with our second place team?
I'll go first. Devils. I could totally see why people might have them first in Division Two. What? That's a sick team, man.
They're insane. The
Holy
additions they
shit.
made.
Holy. They're I almost like they might be must watch TV this year.
Also, like watching them play their first two games,
Oh, they just
there's
killed
so much.
Buffalo.
They killed Buffalo,
They made Buffalo
and we'll
look like
get
an
to
AHL
Buffalo,
team.
but like also New Jersey, the way they played, they just looked incredible. Like there's so much chemistry between all the lines. Shout out Seamus Casey for playing really well. Gotta shout it out because he got an Irish name.
Oh, for sure. Beauty. Uh yeah, no, Dougie's with the Devils, right?
Yeah.
Dougie as well. Like
I
having
think
a
he's gonna have a good year.
he was out for
Hopefully
significant
he gets
times
to
last year.
get up
Jack
to the
Hughes.
museum.
They added
Uh,
Brett Pesce as on defense. Like I think their
Nico
top four
Heischer's
when they're healthy is Hamilton,
disgusting.
Siegenthaler, Pesce, Luke Hughes.
Like, is Jack Hughes, Nico Heischer like a top 3 or 4
That's
center duo in the league?
it's
Like
insane.
you
They're
got
both so
McDavid,
good.
Draisaitl above them. You
I
know,
think JTPD are above them too, but
That's the conversation we're having. That's
I
what we're
feel like
having here. Like they're in that top tier.
yeah.
oh, that's actually a perfect comparison because I think like Jack Hughes and JT Miller are probably comparable, like
The
equal.
one thing I say
I
that
think
JT
Heischer's a
has
bit
over
more
Jack,
responsible defensively.
I
He
think
doesn't
Heischer's
quite,
better at winning games than Pedersen. Like
yeah, but
Pedersen's
doesn't put
elite
the same amount of
offensively, there's no doubt
points.
about that. But like
yeah.
as far as like
I
winning a
feel
hockey
like
game, like when Heischer's on the ice, he really gives nothing to the other team defensively,
I
and
feel like the
he can
better
contribute on offense. That is
comparison
an underrated player.
would be Miller and Hischier and Petey and Hughes. I feel like Petey and Hughes are both kind of defensively lacking. I feel like JT and Hischier are both
No,
pretty.
Miller
I
and
feel like
Heischer are two different
They
I
players.
know
play
Miller's
really
pretty
differently.
defensive. He's a pretty
They
defensive man, Miller.
watching them play though, they play different games.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Miller's a lot more physical, I'll
they're
say, but
both good players in their own ways, but very
yeah,
different in the way they play the game. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously you'd say that out of, like Pedersen and Heischer too, for example. But like I
yeah.
think like Hughes and
Yeah.
Miller are a little closer of a comparable just because of
Uh,
just the way they are, no, the way they are offensively, like what they.
I think Petey and Hughes was a way closer match because of the fact
Yeah,
that
fair enough.
Petey, they're both offensive minded. Like
So is
I
Miller.
Miller's more of a two-way guy. You watch him out there, you can see him thinking up like he was a shutdown center for the Canucks this year. He shut down McDavid. He was put out against all the like McKinnon's line. Like he was not the
Yeah, I guess Miller's more urgent with the puck versus Jack Hughes likes to
yeah
hold on to it.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But
Mhm.
yeah, I
Like
have the Devils
Anyways,
with 109 points.
109. All right.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be fucking amazing.
Where do you have who do you have
Devils,
in do you have Devils
yeah
here as well?
yeah. It's 110.
I I'm gonna be that guy. I have the Rangers in second.
Why?
Yeah, explain.
And it's there's a couple reasons here is quite I'm kind of thinking here Rangers won the President's Trophy last season
Yep,
and fell short. I think that they're
as
going to
President's
be
Trophy winners often do.
as oftentimes they do, and oftentimes President's Trophy winners as they do, they go into the season trying to rethink their structure a little bit. And usually like you were talking with Dallas about how they want
Hmm.
to
At
adjust their
Edmonton
play
as
style a
well.
little bit. I think that they aren't going to care as much about winning the President's Trophy. And now, for
That's a good
reference
argument.
here, I have them at 110, so like basically the same. I just think that they're going to put less stock into just running away with these games by scoring these high flying
Yeah,
goals, and they're
they're
going
not
to
gonna
try
be
to
trying to
adjust
win
their
game
play
seven
style a bit.
three. They're gonna hold back a little bit and
Yeah.
save it for the playoffs. I get
Whereas
it
I
totally.
think my first place team, New
They're
Jersey
gonna be given
Devils,
1,000% every night and just destroying teams.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're going to be
yeah.
trying to run away with every game by any means possible. And I think the one and they're just
No
going to decide
prisoners, no
to
hostages,
yeah, they're not going to be worried about how they're scoring goals quite as much.
nothing
Maybe
left.
Sheldon Keefe will be.
Scorched earth.
You look at how Sheldon Keefe's performed with some of these teams,
Look how he does in the
and
regular
in the
season,
regular season, you see how it does in the
dude.
playoffs as well. But
I honestly, I think honestly, I think Keefe might have a deep playoff run this year with the Devils and just get rid of that narrative. I don't ever really think that the Leafs playoff woes were on Keefe. I think he knew what the
no,
team needed to do and he told them and they didn't listen.
I think it's worth noting that he was not effective at getting the players, at motivating the players to do what they needed to do, which is
I don't
still
even know if Craig Berube is going to be able to do that,
we
man.
don't know if he
Like
will. That is a fault
they're
on Keefe, but it's
divas.
also a fault on the Toronto players for
Well, I
acting
think
that
it's just
way.
their personalities, man.
Yeah.
Like Matthews is kind of like a little like he's like okay, like you look at like Connor McDavid and you look at like Sidney Crosby, like the greats, and they don't really like care about themselves. Like you don't see like McDavid
Hmm.
like getting up in the morning and like doing his hair and like making sure like his earrings look good or anything like that. Like he gets up, he thinks about hockey, he goes to bed, he thinks about hockey. Matthews he cares about his brand. He cares about how he looks. He cares about, like hanging out with Bieber and shit like that. Like he's just not as much of a hockey robot as like Crosby or
Hmm.
McDavid or like a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think of is I really want to watch the actual
He wants to
documentary
be
because
like
I've seen the clip. Do you
a
remember in
celebrity.
Game 7 when it's Marner is having like a bit of a tantrum on the bench and getting really frustrated?
Yeah,
Austin
and then what
Matthews kind of just doesn't really do much, and it's Nylander who I would say that
dude,
out of the Maple Leafs, even
he
though he
always
does,
has been their best playoff
Nylander has
performing
been
forward.
consistently good in the playoffs,
Yeah,
and
and
it's the
honestly,
stop
Tavares has been
crying,
pretty
bro, and
good
shoot
too.
the puck. Like
Tavares
it's
and
just
Nylander, yeah.
it's like the stop complaining about this and just go like just actually like
I
just go
love how we
play as a
found a way
team.
to make this about the Leafs.
And that's but it's yeah, that's a
Well, I
I don't
mean, let's
know.
bring it back to Sheldon. Like, I don't think he was the problem in Toronto. I think you just got a
No,
No.
bunch of divas
I
there.
think there's still the question mark though, because he was still unable to motivate the players, and
I, I,
I think that's both. I
I,
think that even if it's mostly the fault
that's
on the
that's
players,
on the players.
it is. It's mostly on the players, but also it still
They were
needs to be
motivated enough
put
in the
on the
regular
coach.
season.
It still does need to be put on the coach a bit until he proves he can motivate another team.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Like when you go from coaching divas like that to like Nico Heischer, like
oh
that
yeah,
dude's a gamer.
yeah.
Like you don't got to tell that guy to like block a puck with his face. Like he'll do it. Like
No,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm buying. I'm buying Devils stock
or
this
like
year.
Andre Palat,
Oh yeah.
like one of those players. Oh, I would love to have one of them on my team. Where do you guys have? I guess you both have the Rangers
I
for
have the
points.
Rangers winning the
Tell
President's
us
Trophy again this year. I have them at
Yeah, same.
points, and then
116.
why do you love them?
116
116.
points for the Rangers. I just think they have the best team.
I
I
think they
got
have an amazing
I
117 for
don't
them.
team.
know if they're gonna win the cup, but like I just look at their roster, I look at their team, I look at their forward depth, I look at their D, I look at Adam Fox, I look at Panarin.
Yeah,
I think Lafreniere is gonna break out at some point.
I think he's gonna have a really good season this year because he
Like
was
there's just
playing outstanding towards
so
the end of
deep,
last season
dude.
and in the playoffs. Logan, what was your point total?
Trocheck was great
117.
last year.
Ooh,
And for the same, that's a team that hasn't changed at all over the last three
No,
years.
yeah.
And they got chemistry. They're just playing good. Like they're gonna win the
don't
President's Trophy
don't they
again.
just seem to also just get better just naturally every year?
Yeah.
Like they just
Yeah.
get more used to playing with each other and they just know
Hmm.
where each other's gonna be. Like they're like you watch them play and it's so like it feels like they're perfectly executing their plan every time.
Yeah.
Oh
When you
yeah.
watch the New
They're a
York
team
Rangers,
that
I think
shows.
Riley Smith is
they're
also a
not just
really
a
good
run and
pickup.
gun. Like they're surgical.
Hmm.
Like they're very well coached. I think that Shesterkin might be the best goalie in the NHL.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
But
he's
does he
better than
deserve
Hellebuck.
12 million? I don't know if we want to talk about that.
No,
That's not this content.
no,
We'll talk about that later.
no, no, he doesn't.
No.
No, no.
I
To
agree. I
be
think
fair, he doesn't. He doesn't deserve 11 either. I think
they're
10
definitely one of
is
the
the
best teams in
number.
the league.
I
I think
don't.
they're perfectly poised to dummy the Carolina Hurricanes in round one.
I think that it'll probably. Yeah, I guess what do I have?
We'll get to
I'll have to
that.
get to the
We'll get
Atlantic
to
because I
that.
actually have only three teams from the Metro making the
Same.
playoffs.
Same.
I can see my matchup right here, and it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. But yeah, I think Devils and Rangers are easily the top two teams in the division. I think Carolina's a step behind, and I think the rest of the division's a step behind that. What do you guys think?
Well, you
Basically,
see that I have
yeah,
I think the Rangers are still at that step. I just think the Devils are going to elevate in the regular season
yeah,
to
I
that
could see
level,
it totally. Yeah, I think they're both really good teams, but
and the
I'm just
Hurricanes are
gonna
going to follow
give the
that.
edge to the team that I've seen do it, and that this team that I've
Yeah.
seen get better every year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.